According to Griffin, they use buckets of fish offal to entice the girls to fly into shot. So they're standing there up to their ankles in eel guts to get the desired photograph. That's dedication for you.
Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. It is Andy in Black. It is John in Black, and we are here to discuss some music. And John, you were up to bat, sir. What have you got in store for the class today?
Actually, it's navy blue. It's just the way of my lights and camera that comes across as black.
Thwarted.
Yeah. You racist bastard. Anyway,
I don't see colors, clearly.
So, band that we've tracked before. This is the rather wonderful Echo and the Bunnymen. And so we have another track for them. This particular one is called Over the Wall.
Over the Wall.
And
this is track number 3 by them we've done on this channel now. Thorn of Crowns and all that jazz.
Yeah. Did we do one before that or not? Heads Will Roll.
Maybe on Into the Music?
Heads Will Roll on it. Yeah. On Into the Music.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this is from a different album from all the other 3. This is but the footage you'll see is them performing on miming on Dutch TV, and it's one I'd not seen before, so it's just interesting to see something different to the usual stuff.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to give these guys another listen. They haven't disappointed in the past. I doubt they will in the near future. So let me come back and let you know what I think after I give this thing a listen. All right, real quick. I just love the use of a fade in. Oftentimes, more often than not, when the fade is used, it's usually on the back end of the song to fade it out. This is fading in, and it's in a way, it's really cinematic, right? Because it's like a camera coming into focus, but it's like the auditory version of that, where the sound is coming into focus, and you're watching it kind of like formulate and coagulate, just come together to become something. Now it's this thing in the distance that's coming closer and closer. I like that a lot. So much reverb. So speaking of the cinematic nature to it, that like his vocal delivery in the very beginning had like almost this, I don't know, it was so uneasy because it was kind of like close to emotionless, and I don't know, there's something uneasy about that. Like if he had been screaming, it would have been less, for me, uneasy than that almost spoken word tension and just dripping with tension kind of delivery that he had. And then Over the Wall, like when he came in with Over the Wall, it was like a jump scare scene in a thriller, because you're so used to that kind of like walking on eggshell vocal approach that he has that kind of perpetuates in me this feeling of unease, and then he hits you with a over the wall, and like I said, the musical equivalent of a jump scare in a film, and I really, really like that. That sounded cool. Guitar. This bass line is like this infinity symbol of just rolling depth underneath the rest of the song. Yeah, it's like the gears turning in some murder machine or something. I don't know. I'm getting serious, broody. Like I said, it reminds me of like watching a thriller. Like as far as like a film genre goes, there's some interesting tension being built and toyed with in this tune. Great tom work. I like that guitar. Like that guitar. These drums are great. These drums. That hi-hat work. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of mood to this one. Which, I've come to expect a lot of songs that John's offered me up have this kind of brooding tension, and this guy's vocal delivery, I can't remember his name, escapes me. Forgive me, John, in the audience. Though, John, I'm sure you'll remind me on the other side when I return. He's playing like it started off very spoken word, which I thought was kind of menacing, and then when the chorus hit, his voice and the music kind of jump out over the wall. And then that last bit when he's talking about how he can't get sleep or whatever, it's like there's almost this like manic affectation to his voice, kind of like a plea, uh, you know, to get out from under whatever has got him in this way. And I can relate to that. I've only heard this song just this one time, but I can relate to, sort of this back against the wall, at your wit's end kind of sentiment to his delivery, and all the great accenting works on the guitars here and there, that of the bass and the drums working together, to kind of keep things moving. There's all these other little ancillary things too, like there's that shaker, the echo effect on the one drum hit that occurs, and then it sounds like there's other lower in the mix spoken word lyrics while he's singing, and I think it's in the verses. I'm not sure. I have to go back and check it out, but it's really weird because it kind of gives you that feeling of when like you're in a crowded area and you're having a conversation with somebody and you're listening or trying to listen to the person with whom you're speaking, but there's all of this ancillary conversing that you're picking up on in the background as well, which is an interesting touch, for this song. I wonder what that symbolizes or suggests, what the inference should be when the listener hears that. But I like it a lot. I also loved that sort of the ending, how the music stopped, but there was still almost like, I don't know, like its essence was still there, or the shadow that it once cast could still vaguely be seen because you until it like completely fades out. Yeah, interesting stuff. I really love the way this was all assembled and put together. I really, really love all the different choices they use to accent and add to the main, ingredients of the song, if you will. Yeah, very moody, very cool. Also, the way it was shot, and you sort of got a look and feel for how the band is as they perform. Yeah, good stuff. John keeps giving me good stuff from Echo and the Bunnymen. I'm sure this won't be the last. But let's get back and discuss with him the song, because I don't know what Over the Wall means, but it's got to mean something important with the way those lines in particular were delivered. So back to John for a little dose of clarity.
Well, 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 Cardinal Richelieu, we meet again for the last time. On guard. No, so
Oh God.
so
So
you're back.
yes, I am. I am.
It's another way of saying it, I suppose.
Yeah, you took the long roundabout way of saying welcome back. But yes, here I am, all in one piece. This is an interesting video, just first and foremost, the visuals and kind of, also not just the way it was shot, but the visage of the gentleman there. It was definitely of a time, which was kind of fun to check out and bear witness to. So things start off with a little twist. We're doing a fade in with the music. So oftentimes we're used to the fade out, but they're sort of a reverse implementation of the fade effect, and we're fading in as the music is coming into focus. And I kind of like this because it's kind of cinematic. Like things are taking shape. Like sometimes things take shape visually. This is sort of things taking shape from an auditory standpoint, which is kind of cool and interesting, and again, not often used. So I appreciated that. The first thing I noticed is this slowly rolling bass line beneath the mix, and then these bright but subdued, almost lazily strummed chords and finally that simple drum beat that's kind of moving the tune. Then heavily reverb-soaked guitar steps forward into the light, and it is supported by this like frictious shaking or shuffling sound. I'm sure it's what I imagine to be some sort of like handheld auxiliary percussion instrument of some kind. But it's interesting and I like it, and it's not the last time I'll notice it in the song. It appears, it's actually pretty prevalent throughout the song. The singer comes in with that same energy as the initial guitar that I mentioned, and the words are almost at this point like emotionless, which I find to be more unsettling than if they had been screamed at me. For some reason, that always, it's like the anecdote of disappointment versus anger, and from my like dealing with my parents, it always cut more when they were disappointed than it did when they were like angry at me. And this is like the vocal equivalent of that. It's sort of emotionless, and it's almost apathetic, and that is more disconcerting to me than I don't know, rage or any of these other kind of fervent emotions. So a little unsettling there. And there's something very unpredictable and brooding to this kind of delivery. And we've encountered it in plenty of songs on this channel, but it remains worth noting. And then this creeping on eggshells tension is sent just completely asunder when the chorus kicks off, like a jump scare scene in a thriller. The quick drum roll and yet to be experienced emphatic vocal delivery of "Over the Wall" hits quite unexpectedly. So I was kind of like, "Oh shit, all right." Then around, which again, there's that brings it back to the whole cinematic aspect of the way this song is composed. And I really dig that. Around the 113 mark, just after the chorus, you get this lightning bolt of guitar that absolutely boxes your ears, followed by these gunshot echoing strikes on the drums, which I thought was really interesting. Like that seemed like a production thing, like this sort of echo effect on that drum hit. All the while, this bass line remains rolling under the surface like some menacing constant, a barbed wire infinity symbol turning like the gears of some murder machine. It's just always there, moving. At the 212 mark, we get the start of some really fabulous drum work. Your man is moving all over the toms, which I'm really, really loving. That becomes quickly one of my favorite parts of the song. And for the first time, I'm noticing these patched in like other vocals, like buried a little bit. For me, hearing that, it was kind of like the experience of like being in a crowded area, like a subway terminal or something like that, and you're having a conversation with someone, you're hearing 80% of what they're saying, but you're picking up on all this disparate sound. There's also the introduction of this high-pitched and simple single-note guitar motif that just begins crying over those rolling toms and of the drums, and we're back to the over the wall, so to speak, when we get to the chorus. More great guitar and drums continue during and around this portion where he sings the lines "out of the road, coast to coast," or "out on the road, coast to coast," something to that effect. And your man slips into this odd vocal affectation around the 430 mark during that bit where he's lamenting his lack of sleep and his desire to be held, like this sort of manic frustration. So all these different ways of delivering the lyrics are being deployed, from the early sort of menacing, apathetic delivery to the fervent, like "over the wall," to now this kind of throwing his voice and hitting higher notes and almost breaking at times. You can really feel like his frustration that he's emoting. More excellent drum work, specifically tom rolls, carry us to completion. But even as the musicians stop playing, you can hear this auditory version of, or like this shadow that the song casts, and like the hi-hats are sort of taking it out. And it's kind of like, I don't know, when someone leaves the room, but you can still smell their cologne or something like that. It's just this kind of interesting little effect they use there at the end. And then there's also this whirring sound that is the last thing that you hear before it completely comes to an end. And I thought it was a full-blown mood piece that seesawed between brooding frustration and manic discomfort, and I'm here for it. It was not pleasant when you're in the throes of it, but at the end of it, you're like, I made it out. It's like going through a really like legitimate haunted house, like around Halloween, and you're scared shitless through the whole thing. But by the time you get to the end, your endorphins are pumping. You're like, fuck yeah, all right, let's do it again, kind of. But no, this is really good. I liked it.
Yeah, okay. So, as we said at the start, we've covered this band a few times. I will put together a playlist and a link in the description so you can go and check all the previous episodes and all the stuff about the band. So, this track is from their second album, Heaven Up Here, 1981. It also featured on the rather wonderful, and here's my knackered copy of Shine So Hard EP, which is we already covered one of the tracks, All That Jazz, the version of this on a previous episode. And so I could have got footage from that as well. If you remember, they were playing live with like, soldier gear on and all that sort of stuff. But I thought it'd be interesting to see this more fandied about Dutch TV version. So yeah, just a reminder of the crew involved: Ian McCulloch vocals, Will Sargent guitar, Les Pattinson bass, and Pete De Freitas, much missed, on drums. So in the liner notes to the 2003 remastered version of this album, Ian McCulloch said that he constantly had the Velvet Underground song "What Goes On" in the back of his mind, which is quite interesting. He also stated the band wanted to record a soul album, so you can believe what you want when it comes to Mac the Mouth. But according to guitarist Will Sargent, McCulloch considers Heaven Up Here to be Sargent's album because he was bossy and a control freak throughout the recording. So where they were after the relative success and definite critical success of their debut album, Crocodiles, they brought in a different producer, Hugh Jones. Now he has had a pretty interesting career. He was an engineer on Adam and the Ants' King of the Wild Frontiers album.
Yeah.
Big respect. Also on Teardrop Explodes Kilimanjaro, which, as you may not remember, but McCulloch, Cope, and Pete Wiley were in the Crucial Three that never recorded a single song but were together, and they became rivals. And so there was this rivalry between Teardrop Explodes, Julian Cope, and Echo and the Bunnymen. Hugh Jones also produced the rather wonderful and one of my favorite albums, From the Lion's Mouth by The Sound. I also did the Downs Strawberries album and has worked with bands like the Charlatans, Pale Saints, the Blue Tones, and Gene. So interesting career. Now, this album was a definite change in sound for the band. After the sort of directness of Crocodiles, this is, and you mentioned cinematic, this is a widescreen production, bathed in atmosphere, mood, texture, and tension. And the themes, which you mentioned, one of them, themes of distrust and restlessness, ran throughout. And as an album, it's totally cohesive. It is held up by many fans as Echo the Bunnymen's masterpiece. The drums are really front and center in this, and it has some of Will Sargent's finest guitar action on the album. For me, though, the next album, Porcupine, actually combines the best of the first two albums with just the seeds of the lush orchestrated sound, which would come in the fourth album, Ocean Rain. But it really is splitting hairs because all four albums are fantastic, and you don't have to pick a favorite, but we always do. So there you go. So the photograph on the front, which is the photographs actually the front and the back, were taken by photographer Brian Griffin, who did most of their cool covers. And the picture shows the band on a wet beach in the South Wales seaside town of Porthcawl. There are dark clouds in the sky, and the sun is low in the horizon, so the band are in silhouette. Of course, this would be a technique which we use often in their career, silhouetted men. So, according to Griffin, they use buckets of fish offal to entice the girls to fly into shot. So they're standing there up to their ankles in eel guts to get the desired photograph. That's dedication for you. The cover itself received the Best Dressed LP Award at the 1981 Enemy Awards. And actually, Brian Griffin was named as Photographer of the Decade by the Guardian magazine for his work in music and his portrait work. So yeah, awesome covers, awesome guy. So on this album, British music journalist Simon Reynolds described the sound of Heaven Up Here as having been filled out with guitar overdubs, keyboard glints, vocal multi-tracking, and atmospheric vapors. Comparing Heaven Up Here with Joy Division's 1980 album Closer, Reynolds said that they were harrowing by the same things. Hypocrisy, distrust, betrayal, loss, or frozen potential. However, he said that while Closer shows Ian Curtis fatally mesmerized by his own dread visions, Heaven Up Here ultimately turns its face towards the light, which I think is a really interesting sort of insight there. The album ranked 463 on Rolling Stone's magazine's list of 500 greatest albums of all time. The Enemy ranked the album number 51 in its list of the greatest albums of all time. And the album was also voted by Enemy readers in 1981 as Album of the Year. So this video is a new edit of rare footage of them appearing on a Dutch TV show called Gotta Damarong 2000. Hell of a catchy name for a TV show. Now, the uploader whose channel we've nicked this from, Nacho Video, big thanks to him, and he should be credited because here are his notes. He said the original clip left a lot to be desired. I scrubbed up everything as best pos and synced the clip to a decent audio source, so it's the original studio audio. But that wasn't even half the fight. Some of the original editing really sucked, missing great moments of Mac's vocals and DeFreitas drumming, and not a single close-up or really clear shot of Will or his guitar playing. Also, the original clip is marred by pretty rubbish special effects added here and there throughout the clip. I think they just randomly put in the filters because they just bought them the week before. And that used to happen a lot in early 80s TV.
Yes.
Vision mixers were the sort of the demigods of the studio back then. Lastly, I have to mention how spectacularly bad Mac's vocal miming is. He either can't remember when his lines come in, or he simply can't be bothered to lip sync correctly, once even emitting an intonation something. He had that look in his eyes that I've seen before. So yeah. So lyrics are quite simple, but yeah, it's interesting. So he starts off, you say this almost spoken word bit. It's very sort of low key start, and it's very interesting sort of little verse. The man at the back has a question. His tongue's involved with solutions, but the monkey on my back won't stop laughing. Over the wall, hand in hand, over the wall, watch us fall. There's something to be said for you and your hopes of higher ruling, but the slug on my neck won't stop chewing. Over the wall, hand in hand, over the wall, watch us fall. I'm walking in the rain to end this misery. I'm walking in the rain to celebrate this misery. What's that you say? Speak up, I can't hear. What did you say? I couldn't hear. Over the wall, hand in hand, over the wall, watch us fall. Pounding the road, coast to coast. Pounding the road, coast to coast. Come over the wall, come over the wall, come over the wall, come over the wall. I can't sleep at night. How I wish you'd hold me tight. I can't sleep at night. Come on and hold me tight. I can't sleep at night. How I wish you'd hold me tight. Come on and hold me tight. I can't sleep at night. How I wish you'd hold me tight. Come on and hold me tight. Come on and hold me tight. I can't sleep at night. How I wish you'd hold me tight. Hold me tight. Ha ha height. Hold me tight. Ha ha height. Hold me tight. Ha ha height. To my logical limit. To the logical limit. To my logical limit. To the logical limit.
Now,
it's worth noting.
I was just going to ask what it was about because, like, there are lines in there that made me think of like addiction because of like the monkey on the back and the not being able to sleep at night and sort of like going to and fro in order to maybe acquire or quell acquire drugs or quell your addiction or want for them. I don't know. It's hard for me to latch on to what it's about, but that was the first and only thing that really stuck out to me.
Okay. it's worth noting that he does paraphrase Del Shannon's Runaway. The lines, I'm walking in the rain to end this misery. The original is, I'm a walking in the rain. Tears are falling and I feel the pain. Wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, wow, 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 etc. So I thought that was quite a cool little touch that he puts in there. He does that often in songs, so it puts in little older songs and twists them a little bit. As to the meaning of this, well, the phrase over the wall means to me a grand escape, usually from an institution, going over the wall. Those institutions traditionally are prisons or mental health facilities, or even as a wider term, society constructs, school. Um, so I think this has a dark, feverish quality of someone who's really in need and is desperate to trust, but isn't quite there. And I always see it as someone trying to escape from a mental facility, but that's just me.
Mm.
I have no clue. I looked up, no one else has got a fucking idea either what it's about. But whether that escape is metaphorical or whether it's a scenario, only he knows, and you'll get bollockal sense out of him. So, you make of it what you will.
There. No, it's interesting. I mean, in a way, there's kind of like what I envisioned or inferred from it, and what you're saying. There's potential. I mean,
Yeah.
there's connection points there. You know what I mean? You could be in a
Yeah.
clinic trying to get clean and wanting to break free of that as well.
From rehab, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. There's no right answer. There's plenty of wrong answers, I guess. Jesus, vampires.
There you go.
You know the score. Drugs, obviously. You got one of the three. Well done. But yeah, I really like this. It's such an atmospheric, brooding song. And they do create this scene where you're in this scene straight away. You can't maybe describe it, but it's probably got dry ice at the bottom. And there may be the odd sort of light circling like a searchlight. You got that feeling about it.
For sure.
Yeah, so I always thought that the last bit, to my logical limit, to the logical limit, it seems like quite an odd line to throw in, that I always thought it came from it was referencing something, but I cannot find any reference to it. But it feels like it means something. I know, whether it's just something he's read or I don't know, but I couldn't find anything to it. But
Yeah, to be
definitely
fair, when
feels
I
like
heard it, I was like, "Are you just doing this for the sake of alliteration?" But or like, what is because what does it mean? My logical limit, like the limit of one's mind, because that's where logistics are formed and things like that. Like, is that what he's saying? Like, to the extent my mind can go, is one's logical limit, or is it just my practical limit? Like, the limit that makes the most sense because it's logical. So I don't know. I guess it could go both ways or whatever. But I did. It's funny that you mentioned that little line, and I didn't harp on it at all in my reaction. But I remember thinking, "What the fuck is a logical limit?"
Yeah. Well, it kind of ties in, I guess, to this mental facility thing, or it could be another way of saying, what would Mr. Spock do?
Yeah. You're right. You're
the
right.
logical limit. Okay, I will wrap things up on that note. Thanks for listening, Sandy. Another Echo and the Bunnymen in the bag. Folks out there, thanks for listening also. Tell us what you think. Please hit the like button if you like this and drop some comments about this song, Heaven Up Here. I know from previous comments there's a lot of fans on the channel, regular viewers, who love Heaven Up Here, and will probably disagree with me violently about Porcupine being better. Such is life. Please drop your comments. We'd love to hear from you and about this song as well. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And untold joy and fortunes will become you, or something like that. But we appreciate everybody who supports the channel. We really do. So hop on board. That being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.